Good morning,
Good morning.
everybody. Andy and I are here with another 010 podcast episode. And she called me yesterday, I think, and said, "Hey, I tried to listen back to an old episode because we're doing some new things and doing some throwbacks on our social media of episodes that we've recorded. Anyway, and she listened back to an old episode from the beginning where we interviewed each other. And she's like, Josie, we can't hear you. Which, when I think back to when a year ago when we started this podcast, probably over a year ago now, um, there was so many things that we were trying to figure out, and especially when it came to sound and creating good sound quality, and it was so difficult, which I don't know why, but eventually it led us to doing more like this. And for some reason, without any microphones, we might have a microphone here and there when we're together, but anyway, we struggled with the sound, and we kept getting that response from our listeners too, like, we can't hear Josie, we can't hear her. And one, I got a new computer. Two, we ditched the microphones. So now here
Well,
we are.
it's been fun because as I told you, I've never listened to our podcasts before, and so I'm driving back and forth from Bismarck to Hazen a couple days a week, and I decided I was going to listen, and yeah, Josie's I quit after a couple minutes. It was frustrating, so I thought we should redo Josie. Listening to mine was interesting because it's crazy how much my life has changed over the last year.
Yeah,
And I am a little emotional this morning about all of that. So I'll be, you know, again, we're being authentic. So I'll kind of let that flow a little bit, or we'll shut it down. But
yeah,
life has changed a lot for me, and so listening to that was really interesting to
yeah,
hear where we were at a year ago, where I was at a year ago. And I wish I could have heard where you were at a year ago, but I did have to shut it down.
yeah,
But I have realized too that I think our podcast, we one of our main goals was to be authentic. And I think that without all that equipment that we were using, we've become more authentic.
yeah, probably.
As I've listened
Probably.
to them, yeah,
Well, it's not like we are around microphones all that much. Now, if I was like, I don't know,
yeah,
working in the journalism or in, something along the lines of having a microphone in front of you, I might feel different. But not that it didn't change anything per se, but I would say I was more thinking about, like, can they hear me, or where's the
yeah.
where's the sound settings at and all that. And we just gave up on it all, and it actually sounds better, which is totally Andy. Like, you're like, it's not working, like, we got to switch it, and then we do. And I'm like, well, it's got, like, everyone else has these microphones and has this stuff, and you're like, that's just not us, and it's okay.
Well, and I think that could be true, but also like think about it right now. You are in a space that you're comfortable in, and authenticity I think would come through in that, right? And I'm at Karma Vita in Bismarck, which is of course my creation
Yeah,
and my
true,
second home for the last almost 8 years. And so um there's a comfortability in that.
for sure.
Yeah. So
That
let's
makes
talk
sense.
about Dr. Josie today.
Okay.
And I don't even remember. I came with no notes last time we had notes, which was great. But I come with no notes, and I couldn't listen to the podcast. I don't remember what we talked about, but so let's just let this flow. Um, why don't we start really with like your childhood?
Sure. So I am the oldest of four. I grew up in Ralph, South Dakota on a ranch and attended, well, yeah, so I guess before five, right? There was three of us in the house. No, how old was I? No, there's only two of us in the house when I went to school. And then my brother would have been born shortly after that. So yeah, I still remember the picture of my first day of school with a red um, igloo lunchbox that was like the size of me, right? Like those big red and white lunch boxes. And I had a matching outfit with my hair pulled back in a braid. Like, I still remember all of that and being so excited for school. I went to they call it a one-room schoolhouse, but technically it was a brand new country school. Um, the building was new. The country school was always there, but I was the first year that went into this new building that the teachers and everybody they were very excited about. And yeah, I started kindergarten, and my mom had to sneak out the door, and I was very sad when she left. So I was a very shy little kid, actually, unless I was around people that I was very comfortable with. But I was pretty shy, and I had my friends, but for the most part, it was my siblings for a long time. We grew up, you know, just kind of away from people. So once school started, I started learning how to socialize and be friends with my classmates. And we had our room was set up where it was an upper level and a lower level. So K through third or fourth grade were on the upper level, and then there was enough students to have a um, like fifth through eighth on the bottom. So our school was K through eight, and I was there for um, till eighth grade. I moved to town school at eighth grade, which is 40 minutes um, from my home. So we went from 35-ish students in kindergarten down to 5 students when we decided to leave. And as we decided, because there was my brother, my sister, and I, and then the teacher's kiddo and one other neighbor girl. So there's 5 of us there. Once they decided, or we decided that it was time to go to town for our family, then they closed the school. So yeah, so then I went to town school, and whole different ball of wax going, you know, um, going to that that immensely bigger school experience. So, but yeah, my childhood was really great. We rodeoed. I was a ranch kid, right? So we had our bum lambs, and made money through our bums and taking care of little sheep. My grandma had some sheep. We always had a cow, so then we'd have a baby. Mine was red and white. We had 2 herd markers in our herd. Mine was red and white, and my sister's was a white cow with freckles and horns, and mine was some, yeah, Holstein something or other. Looked like a roping cow. Anyway, otherwise it was a herd of black cows practically. So we grew up getting a ranch or a cow check. That was kind of our money that we had growing up, and to go school shopping or to do whatever we kind of needed to do. But that was, yeah, I grew up with my grandma. Also, I should mention that my grandma, so our ranch is about 3 miles from my grandma's place. So we were very close with my grandma Louise, um, at her place all the time, working with flowers and mowing lawn and having root beer floats. Like we were pretty close. She really helped raise us, really, with how close we were. My grandma and grandpa at the time. My grandpa was still there. Oh, and my great grandma B was there. Yeah, which she'll come up later in the story, I'm sure. But they were they were the full population of Ralph, South Dakota, and with the zip code 57650. So we lived further away, but not part of Ralph. So Ralph had a population of 3 when I was growing up.
Wow.
Yep, it was kind of fun. Yeah.
So from Buffalo, so you rodeoed because, and we talked about that a lot when we were on our road trip, which we should do a podcast about our road trip because that was interesting. We had some fun. We didn't have a lot of fun, but we did have some
We did
fun.
have a lot of fun. It was
Yeah,
good
yeah.
fun.
It was
Good
work, but it
adult
was fun.
relaxing fun. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so you talked about you referenced rodeo a lot, and so do you still rodeo?
I don't. No, so
I
yeah,
knew
it
the answer
was
to that. I did know the
yeah.
answer to that, but I thought,
I do
yeah.
not. I do not rodeo anymore. I rarely even ride horse, and that's something that I have rode more in the last year than I have in a long time. But I loved rodeo, and it taught me a ton. It taught me a lot. I was always in team sports too. So there's that team aspect, but then the rodeo thing was very individualized, and it was good to have a mix of both, in my opinion. I was an active kid and I liked sports, so that's something that really got me motivated in life in general. Like, I can't miss school because I would like to go to this game. Like, I have a game today, I'm not going to miss school today. Like there was just a little bit of motivation behind sports for me. I didn't have to think twice about anything because I really enjoyed them. But yeah, rodeo was different. I started rodeoing when I was really young. My dad was a team roper, so and he was in rodeo all through his high school years as well. But when it was time for me to start riding and helping with cows and stuff like that, it didn't take long before I was doing the rodeo thing as a really young kid, and everything was on the ground at that time. So you're roping a dummy on the ground, meaning you rope a calf head on like a bale. It's like stuck in a bale, and it's all fake. Obvious or not obviously, I should probably mention that the calf head is fake. And you rope the dummy. You know it's all timed. You run barrels on a stick horse and like that whole thing. So I started at that age and then rodeoed every year up until I was about 22 years old, um, and did it through college and whatnot. And you just keep advancing, but you learn so much from horses, and that's something um, as a younger kid, I was put on good horses. I was put on safe horses that taught me how to ride. I didn't teach them anything probably other than patience, I would say. But later on, as I started getting more involved, I started looking for certain characteristics of the horse to make a better rodeo horse for performance. And I kind of lost that now that I'm so into like energetic stuff, that we all are energetic beings, I guess, including the animals, right? I lost this little gift that I had when I was younger, and then put it towards a performance and how to achieve something. And I look back and I think on my high school years, especially, like, I mean, I did great. I made it to nationals. I did all the things, but I don't know if I had that respect towards the animal that I think I would now.
Yeah.
And working as a team more than this is the way it's supposed to look and you're supposed to do this. Uh, just kind of letting the horse be the horse and do what it's good at and guide it, but um, not have to make it look like everyone else looks. I don't know. And yeah, so it taught me a lot, and it taught me a lot about responsibility. I mean, you have to feed a horse, you have to water a horse, you have to comb them, and make sure that they're healthy and all the things to keep doing what you're doing. And that's not just once in every month. That's a daily, if not twice a day ordeal, especially as you're traveling around with them and stuff and keeping them healthy. And yeah, um, waking up to feed them. It's just a different, it definitely taught me persistence and consistency. And you couldn't just hop on a horse and think that it's going to work very often. Like, you had to exercise them. You had to,
Well,
be,
and care for another, um, care for something.
yeah,
I think that's not always innately something that people are born with.
right. That's
I
probably,
mean, some people are, but not all people are. So, I mean, it's a great thing for a child to learn is how to care for something other
yeah,
than themselves.
yeah. And of course, as a kid, you don't really realize what's going on.
No, no.
You don't. But now I can look back and be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, sorry, I just saw 3 deer in my grandma's yard just laying here eating while they're laying down.
Oh,
How did I miss them this whole time? Um, anyway, yeah, so learning to care for something now. I mean, now it's a little bit more second nature, but yeah, it was learned early in life for me, which I'm very thankful for.
okay.
Yeah.
So does your family still have horses and cows and all
Yep.
of the things?
They do all of that. They've got a ranch in the northwest corner or northeast corner. Geez, Josie. I've never been directionally inclined, so thank you for GPS. It saved my life probably more than once. um, And living out there, you really should know your directions better than I do.
That's
Anyways,
another thing that I don't think that can be taught.
we talked about that. Yeah, I
You
don't know if it
know,
can be taught. I remember getting in trouble all the time for not knowing where a pasture was or something, and I'm like, I really don't know which direction I'm headed. Like I just don't.
it's my biggest pet peeve. And actually, when people try to tell me that, oh, go north here, it's north of the whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't, unless I'm in Bismarck, because I
Yeah,
know Bismarck like the back of my hand, but don't tell me that.
it doesn't
Please
work.
don't. Don't.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, some people just are born with that too, right?
Oh, for
So,
sure.
okay. So you graduate from Buffalo, and so what do you think motivated you? Like, when did you know you wanted to become a chiropractor?
Oh, great question. Well, because before I knew anything about chiropractic, I knew I was going to be in healthcare. Or I felt like that's where my calling was. I took care of my great grandma B when I was younger, like maybe my eighth grade through sophomore year. And she was in her late 80s to 90s when she passed away. She passed away at 93, I think. And she was at home the whole time. So, but she needed somebody to stay with her at night and to help her get ready in the morning. And so we had somebody always there. So the days that I didn't have, I was home for the weekend or whatever, I would take care of her. And we had a special bond anyway. Like I loved going over there and visiting with her, and she taught me to crochet, and we had a great time together anyway. And then once she fell and broke her hip is how it all started, and then just kind of things went downhill from there. She didn't fall and break her hip. She broke her hip then fell, which is typically what happens in those older ages of broken hips. But anyway, so we spent a lot of time together, and I don't know, I took some test. I don't remember what it was in high school that helped you kind of decide what you'd be good at. And it came up healthcare, of course, and it said nursing. And so I was a CNA for a little while and saw the hospitals, saw how that went down, and knew I didn't want to be a nurse after watching that. Um, for a lot of different reasons, and I won't go into those, but I decided that that
Mhm.
wasn't going to be a good role for me. So I was going to go into pre-med. So I started college with pre-med as my thought process, and I went through my first chemistry class, and we covered everything I learned in chemistry within the first lecture. And I did not get it. And I was not up to par with everyone else, and was like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't even know if I could pass this. And I had been a straight A student. I didn't know how to fail anyway, like in that kind of way. Like I did not know how to
Mhm.
not be good enough at something. So scared the heck out of me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna change that. And I had been adjusted a couple of times as a kid. So I went into my counselor, whatever they're called, advisor person, and she said, well, if you want to be a chiropractor, then you might as well be a PT. So I was like, okay. So I went into physical therapy and went all through I went to Chadron, a state college in Nebraska, went all through that and did all the hours and volunteer hours and all the things. And it wasn't perfect for me, but I kept going with it. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that you look back on and you're like, okay, that was a lesson. Definitely, I had a lot of lessons learned in college, but that was one of them. It's not that I didn't enjoy the work per se, but it seemed like everywhere I went, I was just counting exercises for people. And I was like, my brain is unstimulated here already. Like, I can't imagine doing this for the next 30 years of my life. But I went through and applied to school and got an interview, and I actually didn't get in that first year. So I graduated with a human biology degree, which meant I was going to look through a microscope at something, and good luck finding a job anyway with that. And so I did home health right out after I graduated. I worked with another gentleman out of his home and took care of him 24/7, and or not 7, 24 hours. I had to, you obviously can't work 24/7, but anyway, when I was with him, I was there for multiple days at a time, 3 or 4 days at a time. And so when I was doing that for about 3 months, I realized I was living the life of a 90-year-old man who I truly adored. But he even
Of
looked at me
course.
one day and he's like, you gotta go. Like, we gotta figure out what's next for you as we're reading the paper together. Like, we enjoyed each other's company. He's like, but he's like, you've got other things going on. Like, you need to figure out what's next for you. And so, shortly after, I got a phone call from a chiropractor and I didn't know him. I still don't know who he is today. But he's like, hey, your story sounds quite similar to mine. I heard through the grapevine, through, friends and friends' family. And all of a sudden, it got to this chiropractor of my story. And he's like, um, you should be a chiropractor. And I said, oh, that's interesting because I thought about being a chiropractor years ago. And he said, well, if you went through all the prereqs for PT, he's like, you should be able to get in, no problem. It starts in July, and this was June. A new trimester starts in July, and you could start at Palmer College of Chiropractic. Never been there. I was like, okay. So I applied, got in, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're practically in school. And then from there on, it's just been, I mean, that was a God thing to me. Like, that was totally
Mhm.
a God thing. And I knew nothing when I showed up to chiropractic school. I had no idea what it truly was about. And my roommate, actually, at the time, when she saw me second trimester, so I made it through the first trimester, you take a week break and then you come back. She's like, I honestly didn't know if I would see you again. She's like, you didn't know anything. And I'm like, I know nothing, but here I am, clean slate. Like, let's just teach me all the things. So it was wonderful. Chiropractic school was a great experience and it saved my life in so many ways. So
Yeah, I've heard you say that a couple
yeah,
times.
yeah, not just the health aspect, but faith in general and all of it just kind of opened my eyes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So, okay, so you're through chiropractic school.
yeah.
How did you get to Bismarck?
I got to Bismarck because it was a job offer
Yeah,
of somebody that I knew, and um, I was in California at the time. I had been doing my internship out there with the chiropractor, and he taught me a lot too. But at that time, I had lost a couple of people in my life that were very important to me. Older, like my dad's age, a cousin, and then a my grandpa passed away while I was in school, and then I had my grandpa's brother passed away as well. So I guess there was three that passed away while I was in chiropractic school, and I wasn't able to come home. I didn't come home for one of the or for two of the funerals, and I obviously made it back for my grandpa's, but it was hard to come back, and I was like, I don't want to vacation home, and I just felt like I needed to be around. So I wanted to come back I was homesick. I wanted to come back to the Midwest and be around my family. So I did, and I got a great job actually, and learned a lot from my first mentor boss, and then decided to open up my own practice after a couple of years of that. So that's how I kind of ended up in the entrepreneurial world. I did not know I wanted to be a business owner, um, but turns out my what would you say? My personality kind of needs a little bit more freedom than most, and I'm learning that more and more as I get older, of how important that is for my spirit to be good, is to have
okay, so this is not a cut down to any business owner because I am one too. Well, I mean, actually, as of October 1st, I'm not one. Well, I am one. But anyway, is it because we're too difficult to work with, to work under somebody? I've often wondered that because not difficult, maybe that's negative, but I look at a lot of our friends, my friends, your friends, people in general that I know who own businesses, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I worked well for other people, but I didn't want to work for other people. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to make the decisions. I wanted to make the decisions. I wanted to do things my way. Not that I couldn't do them other ways, but I mean, do you think that that's a piece of it?
Well, I think so. I think but I don't think everybody, I don't think you need to be a business owner or to have that, to be able to have that in a career. But
Yes.
you need to be quite creative. You and your team need to be quite creative on how to use you appropriately. I
Um,
think we might, it might be called difficult, but I honestly think that if you can have somebody in that's in like the way that I think or whatever, I think it'd be very valuable to a team.
Absolutely.
But figuring it out would it's going to take a little bit extra work. It's going to be a it'll be a little bit of art in it. There will need to be some artistry in putting that person in the right roles.
Yes.
In
And
my
I think it depends on who your leader is too, someone like that.
100%.
Because I followed great leaders, very easily. I didn't
Hmm.
need to be in charge when I had a great leader,
No,
I was happy to follow.
and I think for me, I don't know if you've done the Enneagram. It's one of those personality tests, but I
Yeah.
really connected well with the number four, Enneagram 4, which is very independent and individualist. So s- doesn't mean that I needed to make all the decisions or anything. I'm actually totally fine with other people making like the concrete
Yes.
ones, but the visionary and like my a vision of what I could see a spot to be being shut down is really hard on myself. And then I start asking all the whys, and then I'm like a 3-year old. Why, why? And it's not to like shut it down necessarily, but I really need to understand the reasoning behind it so that I know why we have to do those 3 steps in this order versus doing it my own way. And my way is probably not going to work as well, but I needed to know why this way does work. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I definitely had some of that going on. And chiropractic is such a individual type of thing. Like you can try to model somebody else as much as you can, and you can learn the steps and things, but then you really have to take it into your own and figure out how to help somebody connect with you to help heal them. Like I'm not healing, I help them heal. It's just a very different career that way. Um, so yeah, but I didn't know that at the time. I was still trying to do ABCD, EFG, steps 1, 2, 3. So yeah,
Yes.
I ended up being a business owner and was thrown to the wolves. That's how I met you. That's like when I met you, when I was like,
Me
oh
too.
my
That's when I
gosh,
met
what
you.
the heck am I
Yep.
doing?
Yep.
Wait, I
Yep.
need
Me
that
too.
insurance policy. Oh, I need, um, yeah, need to know this person and that person and a banker and a lawyer and a whatever, all the things.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my, I didn't think it was going to be quite like this, but gave me a new respect for any business owner ever. Can't
Yeah.
imagine.
We met in a networking group. I'm sure we've mentioned that before, but I I always say networking was such an invaluable um a mutual friend, Michelle Hott, she invited me to a networking group. It's not the networking group I ended up joining, but I met so many great people along the way trying to find my own group and my own space to be in. And you join networking groups, I think historically to find clients or find people that will give your business.
Yeah,
But for me, it ended up not being even kind of close to that as far as the value that I found. It was connectivity, people who I think for me, it was people who understood me
yeah,
more than anything else, because they say it's the truth of being a business owner can be very lonely.
it
You
can be.
know, it can be. So having that literal network of people who understood me and who could help me, not because they were a banker or a lawyer or a whatever, fill in the blank, but because they were a resource as far as anything, anything,
I know. It was literally anything. It just blew my
anything.
mind every time that we have a conversation with other business owners, which is why I love the fact that we're doing honest entrepreneur retreats because this is exactly like this is what it takes. This is what it takes. And how often did we hear in those groups like I don't have any time. Like I just feel exhausted, and then tears would start rolling because it's a safe. Those groups were pretty, safe, and it's like we're just exhausted, or I don't even know where we're going, or we're stuck, or those different
Yeah,
things, and
yeah,
everyone's like, I get it. I was
I
there
get
once. Like
yes.
here's what I did, or here's what I didn't do anymore, or whatever.
Here's what I did wrong, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't do this,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do
Don't
that,
lose. Yeah, exactly. Find
right?
confidence in yourself again. You're a beautiful person. Just encouragement too,
Yeah,
like it was just it was
yeah.
very cool. Very, very cool. So networking for me was that way as well. It took me, I think, a year in that group before I ever got one patient from it. Um, which I don't know. When I think about it, it makes sense to me. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Was,
and
it was a bonus to me to if someone came into my business that I met in networking, that was a bonus.
yeah,
But more so it was the connectivity, yeah, the relationship piece of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. And I think about throughout the years, since we're talking about people, like how many different chapters we've had in our lives and the people that were in each one of them. And I can tell you, like, pretty quickly where my state of mind was based on the people that I was hanging out with at the time. Like, it just, I've lived some life. I'll just say that. And when I look back on it, I'm like, okay, like a simple way out would be, or not simple, but it was like, I don't know, make a new friend. Like make a new, you know, and
Yes.
or don't date assholes or whatever. Like, but that's who you end up spending your time with. It's like these.
That needs to be what do we talked about we talked about putting quotes in from our podcast, putting quotes in our social media. I
Yeah,
mean, that's gotta be one.
that could be
Don't date
one.
assholes. It's a pretty pretty simplistic way of living.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
You'll learn a lot, but you learn lessons dating
Oh
assholes.
my gosh, yes, I've learned so
Well,
much.
hopefully you do.
Yeah, it took a
Um,
little time before I learned a lesson, but yeah.
do you ever think
Which,
maybe you were the asshole that somebody dated?
oh, for sure. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
because
That's
I attracted an asshole somehow, and I'm guessing it's because I was one myself in one way, shape,
so.
or form.
This is not a point, but it's funny that you bring that up. I'm just gonna throw this in there super quick. I can't wrap my head around this. I've been getting messages from some person that I don't know on Facebook, and I just want to say to people like, why? What makes you think that you should? You don't meet somebody in a dating site. You don't meet someone out in the real world that maybe is potentially throwing out there that they want to date. What makes you think that you should just send them a Facebook message and start hitting on them? Like it's so weird to me. It's so odd to me. And I try to have grace with it, right? You try to think to yourself, like, okay, this is just somebody maybe who's lonely and wants to be. And but it's like I've lived that way my whole life. I don't want to be that way anymore. I want to be like, leave me alone. I just lost my partner. What are you doing? I want to just shake that. Like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that?
I don't know why. That is so
It's been on my
strange.
mind all morning long, and I just think to myself, what's the right way? Do you just politely say, you know what? I don't even know you. I'm not interested. Or do you just block and delete and be like, or do you be like, listen here, dumb dumb.
I don't know.
Stop doing this. You're dumb. This is dumb. Stop and think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the right answer. Maybe somebody can comment on this and tell me the right
Tell
answer. But
Andy what to do.
I
Yes.
blocked and deleted because I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm not here to tell you how to behave with women. Just leave me alone. It's weird to me, but then I think, am I being an asshole? Maybe I don't care right now. But, typically I try not to be one, but it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Have you had that where men will reach out to you on social media that you don't even know? I mean, you're a beautiful woman. I'm going to take a wild guess. And I mean, men will they just go searching and I don't know, like, do they Google women who have lost a partner and just find me and I don't know. It's weird.
That's so weird. No,
It's weird.
I feel like most of the time when I've had, I mean, I've had some creepy ones that I just block it because you can tell in the message that it's creepy, right? But I definitely have had some that say, "Hey, I looked through your profile and it looks like you have your shit together," or something. Like, why am I cussing so much today? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, it looks like you know, you've got your
Yeah,
you're together, and wondering if I could take you for coffee or something. And I've definitely had those before. I've had the creepy ones before, but it seems like the ones that have been reaching out more are from the area. So it's not like some random person from Florida or something. It's somebody in the area, and that's kind of, I don't know. That doesn't feel quite as bad. Where I can say, hey, I'm not looking, or you know, I I'm not looking now these days, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like a well thought out message to reach out doesn't seem so bad because I've seen their dating sites are a lot like ours, right? Where it's just like this is not good. It's not, like the intention is there for not for long-term relationships, even though they might say it. You can read through and understand, or even just sense by their picture. I've had some people find me on a dating site, but not respond there and find me on Facebook.
I've had that too, but I'm not on dating sites.
Well,
I'm not, not
yes,
even, not, but anyway, we're
yes,
sidetracking. But when you bring up dating, I just think to myself, I've always had the thought process of like, we're all just out there. Well, when I was in the dating world, we're all just out there trying to find a connection. So
yeah,
I've always had grace with that. And I've been thankful for men who have had grace with me in return. Like, we're not a match, we don't fit, but like, good luck to you.
yeah,
But it's weird to me when people reach out to you because you're single and they just assume that you're whatever. And it's odd to me. It's weird, but um, sometimes I don't want to have grace with people. I'm grieving, I'm grieving right now.
yeah.
Like,
Leave
it's
me
weird to me.
alone.
Like, leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, quite simple. Leave me alone. But anyway, I'm totally off track. But when you brought up assholes, and I'm not saying that this person, I don't even know this person. That's the weird thing. But anyway, when you bring up assholes, and then so let's hit a tiny bit on your dating life, because I mean, you've been a single woman. You
Yeah,
were
for
married
most of my
for a few years. You were married.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been in and out of relationships for a long time. I tended to like the class clowns, and Andy and I have talked about this with a 48-hour road trip. Like you end up talking about these things, but I liked class clowns. I like people that kind of brought a little bit of energy to a room, right? And with that came a lot of heartache. I would fall for them very quickly, and usually there was more than just me that was after them. And so I did get my heart broke a lot when I was younger. And I've always liked the energy of men, and we talk about that. Like, um, they're they're just fun, and they're guys, and they're chill, and usually let things kind of roll
Men
off
are
their back.
usually they're usually way more fun than we are.
Well,
They
that's
are.
they can be, yes, and I think we have to try a little bit harder, or like let go a little bit more to have that kind of like jokes and spontaneous fun, Um, at least that's what I've experienced. I'm not
Me
saying,
too.
you know,
Yeah.
I know it's different elsewhere probably, or other people have different opinions on that, but anyway, I've always liked the energy of guys, and that's kind of gotten me in a bit of trouble. I will say that, or my heart. It's like hurt my heart quite a bit throughout the years. And then once I got to college, that was I dated a guy maybe for part of college, but I didn't date a lot in college, like actually committed relationships. Then I went to chiropractic school, and I met, I think, my first love, honestly. I met him there. His name is Vince, and he was a football coach. And so he was a lineman. He was a D lineman, so he was like this big teddy bear Italian, straight out of Chicago. Grew up in Chicago. His parents were also from Chicago area. Very very fun, uplifting guy, but a teddy bear and just taught me what how a man can actually love you. So that was huge for me. The relationship didn't last forever, obviously, but it definitely shaped my dating from there on, and what to think about in your partner for life, right? So I did when I got to Bismarck then, so after chiropractic school, when I came to Bismarck, I dated a couple of different times, and then I met my soon to be or my husband, my ex husband, and married him after about I think it was a year and a half by the time we got married, but we got engaged with like it was a year probably, and then engaged for maybe 6 months, and we got married that January in 2020, and then we split up in 2022, and then I moved back to Bismarck. So he was from Linton, North Dakota. So we moved to a farm. I lived on a farm for a while out there, and that's when I had my satellite office. When I was in business, I had my office in Bismarck and my office in Linton, North Dakota. So right around the Strasburg, Linton area, right around the farm there, and yeah, so after we split up, then I've dated a few times, but like I no more flings, or no, I don't want to call them flings, but like if I knew it wasn't going to be something, I was just out right away. Like I just didn't. I had great girlfriends. I had all sorts of people I wanted to hang out with, rather than spend my time with somebody that I knew wasn't going to go anywhere when it came to men. And I found that the older I've gotten, the harder it is to have guy friends. It just doesn't work so good for me. I know some people can do it, and you know, kudos. That's great. But
Yeah.
I had a hard time with that, and I most of the time the men that I was around were married, to my girlfriends, and so it was,
Yes.
just it was just a bit different. So I had great girlfriends I wanted to hang out with, and they want to hang out with me, so it was easier to like it to or easier, and I found more joy in it. So once I found somebody that I was like, oh, I could see this possibly happening, then, or I was pretty sure that I would, it was a good move for me, then I would date, be in a committed relationship. So I've had a few of those since my marriage, um,
Yeah.
and they've been wonderful. I can't say
Yes.
that I don't regret any one of them. Learned some stuff, and yeah, enjoyed my travel. Most of them, they need to know how to travel or want to travel. Otherwise, it just doesn't really work for me. And
Right.
so, so those things, I got to travel with somebody a few times and enjoy the world, or more. I'll say the United States. I don't think I ever went out of the country with a man yet. Period. I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's yeah. Dating life has been interesting, but I think probably one of the biggest reasons why are things that where I learn my most lessons in life is has been through that. So that must be what I came down to this earth, to figure out a little bit more, and for a little spirit.
It is interesting dating, and it is interesting being a grown adult woman and dating,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Well, it's different now because when I was younger, it's like this is going to happen. Marriage is going to happen. You're going to have a family, and not that that is wrong at all, but for some reason now I'm like, that's just all a bonus to me. Like if any of that stuff starts to happen in my life, like I'm good anyway, you know. However it turns out, like I just feel content. I don't know.
Yes.
That
I
took
like how you
time.
touched on female friendships being being content or being, just being a part of your life that you find joy from. And I may have mentioned this before, but I have found that as I've gotten older, um, mostly with the dissolving of my longest relationship, but I just realized how important female friendships are to me. and it's not that they hadn't been previous to that, but I just I put them in a different category once I wasn't putting all my effort into a relationship, and I really could focus on my female friendships. I realized they just feed your soul in a different way when you can connect with other females.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I
And when I say they're more fun than us, I don't, that wasn't maybe true, but men, it's easy for, I feel like men just come to the table with this ease, right? And women, when you put yourself in with the right women, that I find that same ease in myself, right?
yeah.
But sometimes you walk into a room of women where maybe you don't feel that, and then the guard is up, and I don't. It's not as easy for me to be my authentic dorky, weird self. But yeah, men kind of carry it easier than we do. Maybe is what I meant by that. But when you put yourself with the right group of women, gosh, it can be a ton of fun,
So
right?
fun. Yeah. So fun. No,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I have a trip coming up um here in December. I'm trying to decide when to leave still.
Oh,
I have not made the choice on that. Again, Andy, I have this trip coming up in December with a girlfriend. And so I know that I'm going to Spain in December, but I'm trying to decide because I have the month of November that's free if I should go early. Anyway, so this is something maybe that we can learn from. Um, but I keep going to buy that ticket and I can't push
yep,
purchase.
yep.
So, and I still don't know. I'm still praying on it. I still don't know if it's the dates that are wrong or the intention on why I'm going is wrong. Like, I don't know what's going to do it where one day I'm just going to like buy the ticket. But there's some resistance there that I haven't pushed through because I don't think I'm supposed to. And but I don't know if I figured it out yet or if I know that the answer is that I'm not going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Right?
know exactly. I'm
You may
still
not
leaving it
know.
open because I do want to go hang out with my girlfriend, but I don't know when I'm leaving yet, so we will
Well,
see.
I had that with Jerry too when we were supposed to go to Michigan in August, and I started looking at flights in like April, and I kept not buying, and he kept going, "Why are you not buying the tickets?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess we're gonna drive. I don't know. I'm not sure why." And every time I'd go in, well, I mean, sadly, he passed before we would have actually gone. But I mean, and maybe that was why. I don't know why, but I think you have to trust that
Yeah,
when you go to hit buy. I was going to do a juice cleanse actually recently, and I put it all in my cart, and then I just like backed right out of there, and I was like, it's not these products, or it's not my time to do juice cleanse. I'm not sure which, but you
yeah,
have to trust that,
yeah.
trust the little things.
And I really had to check in to make sure it wasn't like a fear of do I spend that money right now? Or like one of those insecurities, making sure it's not, and it's not.
Yeah,
I did it again, and seriously, the tickets are like $450 to fly to
right,
Spain.
right,
Nothing to do with the price of them or
yeah.
anything. There's something else just there, and I don't know what it is yet. So we'll see. We will see
You'll
what
find out.
happens. But
You'll find out.
yeah, so
Yeah.
traveling is a big part of my life. I guess that's a big
Yes.
piece.
You
It
love to travel.
fuels my soul.
What
I
do you
just have
think it is? Do you think it's curiosity, or do you think it's like the thrill of it or the anticipation of going somewhere fun? I mean, what do you think it is that actually fuels that?
I don't think it has
All of the
anything to do
above?
with anticipation, because yeah, I wouldn't even say I'm excited about the trip coming up. Um, I feel great when I land, and I don't feel bad up into it either. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have this trip coming up and woohoo. Like
Yeah.
I'm not, I just kind of just stay in my days. There might be some preparation that needs to be done, but I don't necessarily, and no, it doesn't feel like that. When I travel and even if it's a road trip or whatever, when I get into another space, I don't know, my body just kind of calms down and I feel that it sparks my creativity. So like even if I go shopping or I want to go to an art studio or like I don't know, like I just feel like I it sparks a lot of curiosity and my brain really does well with new things, but not to the point of like you don't know what you're doing, but like seeing some different geography or houses or people or I don't know, like my body just really calms down. I can get very creative, and that makes me happy. And I feel like when I come home, it follows me here, where I can start to create again. Not that I ever I get stuck. I get stuck sometimes. You know, I get stuck in some routines. And just yesterday I was driving around with my grandma, because I have a dream, of what I want the ranch to look like for me. Anyway, so we were driving around, and of course, that gets your creativity going. And I just told her, I said, I'm really thinking about she's got a schoolhouse. So in Ralph, there's three buildings. There's the old store. There's where I grew up. So Ralph is the town. So a old store, a schoolhouse, and a church. And so my grandma actually now owns the schoolhouse, which is, it just happens. Schoolhouse and the store. And the store needs to be pushed in because it's not safe anymore to even walk near it. But anyway, the schoolhouse is where the post office used to be. And she did all of her sewing there. She was a sewer, a crafter, like a woodsman. Like she did all these things. And I walked into her space on my way when I first came home, and I was like, I think this is where I would like to have my chiropractic office, actually. And that didn't come into fruition. I didn't make that happen. But then when we were driving around, I'm like, do you think I could set up my yoga studio in the schoolhouse? Because I want a place to record and create. And I feel like I have trouble with sound and all, it's just hard to do those kind of things around a lot of people. So, and she got so excited, Andy. Like she just smiled from ear to ear. She's like, really? Like you would use that space? I would love it if somebody would use that space. So we spent the whole day yesterday making my little like recording studio for
Oh,
yoga. And we got, yeah, it was so fun. I spent the whole day with her doing that. And yeah, so just getting my mind, I was out driving around the ranch looking at trees and valleys and grass. And then pretty soon I'm creating a yoga studio in my grandma's schoolhouse. So again, that's all that the travel needs to be for me sometimes.
yeah,
It's more like it forces you to look at things differently a bit. Um, and but you can do it in your own home. You don't need to travel to do it. But
agreed.
but I love the opportunity, and I love that I get to do it, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Okay, well,
We're probably
I
way
feel
over.
like I feel like we could do a whole nother episode on Josie. But yeah, we gotta go. I have a
Gotta
client in
go.
a couple minutes, and you have some creative things that you need to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Okay.
so
Well,
thank
thank
you for kind of sharing some of you with us.
Yes,
And yeah, well, I mean, we've learned a lot about you over the last year, and we'll continue to learn about more about you in the year ahead.
for sure. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Josie. You too. Bye.